Well, it's that time again. It's finally time to look at the future of the gaming industry. Because the last video I made like this aged very well, and of course everyone agreed with my video, and it still holds up strong to this day. I'm actually going to be talking about Ubisoft quite a bit, and that's because Ubisoft, I think, play quite a big part in how next year's games go. For example, they have two massive games coming out next year, one being Star Wars Outlaws, which everyone is extremely excited for.
Did you see that jerk?
And the other one being Skull and Bones, a pirate game, which everyone seems to be hyped for. It does seem that Ubisoft are changing up what they're doing and are trying to adapt so they're not following that same copy-repeat cycle that they do in every game. And hopefully, this means that Star Wars will be good.
You serious?
Okay, well, not my greatest predictions in my career, but nonetheless, in this video, I'm going to be talking about 2025's games and what will be good, what will be bad, what will suck, and what will be great. I will talk about what I think the major games releasing next year will be, and of course, what game I think will be Game of the Year next year. And of course, so much more. So without further ado, let's get into this thing. Guys, before I continue with this video, I'll just ask that you like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. This would really help the channel out, and I hope you enjoy the content going forward. Okay, so let's first start by talking about the last year, or rather I should say 2024's games. I want to first talk about this year's games to see if my previous predictions held up. The first thing, of course, I want to say is I could not have been more wrong about what I thought would get Game of the Year this year. I thought that Ubisoft were going to have a great year, when in reality they had a year where they nearly ceased to exist as a company. I mistakenly thought that Star Wars Outlaws would get Game of the Year, and I thought that it would be a good game in general.
You're a fucking idiot. This needs to stop. Now.
Oh, Ubisoft, I could not have been more wrong. Well, one thing I said that I did get right was about Bethesda. I said that they would have a great year and that the Fallout TV show would be great, and of course would have no controversy at all. But hey, all in all, I still think Bethesda had a pretty good year. Let's see. Ah yes, I said that Helldivers 2 would be kind of mid. I could not have been more wrong. It truly is amazing just how brilliant that game is and how it shook the industry in a way that I haven't seen many games ever really do, to be honest. And it's a game I still plan to do a review on, so do keep in mind I am doing that. Still Wakes the Deep and Senua's Saga's Hellblade 2 were two great games that I reviewed this year. The Elden Ring DLC was great, still not good enough that it should have been nominated for Game of the Year, but you know, it was still great DLC. Xbox actually had a pretty good year, other than some of the worst layoffs ever. PS had a really good year, other than them cock-blocking one of their best games they had this year. Nintendo spent the year doing just as much as the Destiny 2 devs do, I would assume. We had a hell of a lot of nothing burgers this year, such as the release of Multiversus and Skull and Bones. And then of course we had some really shit games this year and some dumpster fires, which included Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, which my predictions on that game were crystal clear and correct. I'm just gonna say what everyone is thinking. This game does not look good. The game looks generic and mid, and I'm not one to shit on games before they come out, because I could be completely wrong. This could be the worst take of the whole of 2023, but I just don't think it will be. We had some extremely important and great games this year, such as Astrobot, Black Myth Wukong, and Space Marine. So, like the title of this video, I would say that this year's games were very strange, to say nonetheless. Strange, but of course kind of interesting as well. This year was strange for games, but it leaves us in an interesting and quite exciting place for the future. Now let's talk about gaming moving forward into 2025. While this year was one that could be very interesting and was one that I couldn't really predict in many ways, or pretty much any ways, as being correct, it was a year that was, like the title of this video says, very strange. But strange can often lead to good things, so let's see if my predictions on this video can be correct for 2025's games. Okay, so as the time of writing this script, Game of the Year is right round the corner, so let's talk about what I think next year's Game of the Year will be. As of right now's Game of the Year, this year's Game of the Year, I think it will be Black Myth Wukong that will win.
And the Game of the Year is... Astrobot!
Wait, what? What? Wait, hold on. Wait, what? What the fuck? Astrobot? Where did that come from? Where did that come? Well, turns out I was wrong, but hey, Melina Juergens won Best Actress, so I'm happy with that. But I think without a single doubt in my mind, next year's Game of the Year will be GTA 6. Of course, if it comes out, that is. And yes, you heard me right, I'm not 100% sure that GTA 6 will even release or come out next year. In fact, I'd be very surprised if it did. In my opinion, we only got the GTA 6 trailer released when it was because of the backlash, the immense amount of backlash Rockstar was under from GTA Plus and GTA Expanded and Enhanced.
Hey homie, let's load this shit up.
Gives me conniptions.
And when you look at Rockstar's most recent titles like Red Dead Redemption 2, no Expanded and Enhanced, just ignore that. But when you look at games like Red Dead Redemption 2, you can really see the perfectionists that Rockstar are. So it really wouldn't surprise me if GTA 6 didn't come out next year, but actually came out in 2026. Now, providing that GTA 6 doesn't come out next year in 2025, then I think that makes Game of the Year infinitely times more interesting. Anything could really get Game of the Year next year. Ghost of Tsushima 2, maybe Fable, if it's actually any good, maybe even Walking Simulator 2. One of my top picks for next year, if GTA 6 doesn't come out, and probably my top pick, would be, of course, Dying Light 3. I think that game has a big chance of getting Game of the Year, providing, of course, that GTA 6 doesn't, of course, release. Hell, I think you could make a really strong argument for a lot of games next year that could actually get Game of the Year, once again, providing that GTA 6 doesn't come out. But we're just gonna have to wait and see, because if GTA 6 does come out, I think most of the awards that are going to win at Game of the Year will be GTA 6. I think GTA 6 without a doubt will win Game of the Year, but if it doesn't come out, then I think we're in for a really competitive and interesting year. Once more, the focus is really on Ubisoft this year. Out of all the companies, it will be Ubisoft that will be the most interesting, or rather maybe the most tragic to watch in 2025. Time really will be the teller to whether Ubisoft will be able to pull themselves from the grave that they are so quickly burying themselves into, or whether they will fully die as a company. If Ubisoft are able to produce an actually incredible game, that game being Assassin's Creed Shadows that all the fans unanimously love, then yeah, maybe they will be able to pull themselves up from this grave. But in my opinion, this is a long shot. And to be honest with you, in my opinion, Assassin's Creed Shadows is really the last thing that Ubisoft have left that any fans actually give two shits about. Because as far as I'm aware, Ubisoft have nothing else in the works. They have nothing else that fans are interested in or anyone really is looking forward to. It is all on Shadows or nothing. You see, in my opinion, even if Assassin's Creed Shadows is above average, even though I think most likely it will be mid, but even if it is a pretty good modern Assassin's Creed game, it will not be enough to save Ubisoft. I truly think that we are witnessing the end times as at least Ubisoft in this variant as a company company that we know. And don't get me wrong, I want Ubisoft to do well. I want this group of people who I know are talented to be able to pull themselves up and make something good, because I know they have the capabilities of doing it, because they've done it before. But to be honest, with the margin of them being able to do that, with how little success they've been having over the past year of 2024, I just don't know if I can see them being able to do it. I honestly think it would be very hard for them to pull themselves up from this fall, but only time will tell, I suppose. Now, I want to talk about a company that I think will actually do pretty well next year. That company, of course, being Bethesda.
And the choices you make. And that starts with character creation. It's our most flexible yet.
Of course I could be wrong, but I really don't think I will be with this one. I've always said that though Bethesda makes some pretty bad mistakes, they are always really good at rebuilding themselves up back from their mistakes or mess-ups. I mean, take the last year for example, with the release of Starfield. Bethesda was in a pretty bad place, but they slowly and surely built themselves back up again. This year, Bethesda released multiple updates for Starfield, appealing to the fans, and even a DLC, which looks quite good. I haven't played it yet, but I'm sure it's quite good. Of course, they've also released Indiana Jones, which as far as I'm aware has been a massive success for the company. And the Fallout TV show, which once again was great and not controversial whatsoever.
Hey, how's your nose?
They have even announced a new Doom game which will be set to release next year, so I really think they'll thrive as a company. Bethesda are a company that everyone should be rooting for because they really can be great, and I feel like the people in Bethesda aren't arseholes, they just make mistakes. I personally think that Doom the Dark Ages will be great, and it does look great, and if they release a DLC for Starfield, which by all means I hope they do, I think that will probably be good or great as well. Overall, I'd say Bethesda has a really good year in the making for them for 2025. I just want to see some Elder Scrolls 6. Please. Okay, so let me talk to you about some of the games I'm most excited for or most interested in for 2025. And I think now is a perfect time to talk more about the elephant in the room, that elephant being GTA 6. Now, it's clear that Rockstar aren't really going to be doing anything next year other than focusing on GTA 6. Now, the big question in my eyes is, will GTA 6 actually release next year? Is it really going to come out in 2025?
No.
Now, if it does, make no mistake about this, I have no doubts, zero doubts that GTA 6, if it comes out next year, won't be Game of the Year. But that if it comes out next year, is a big if. GTA 6 is a big game, and I'm of the opinion that the trailer was only dropped because of the monstrous backlash that Rockstar were facing. Because it was around the remakes of the original 3 GTA games, GTA Plus, and of course expanded and enhanced when the GTA 6 trailer was released and dropped by Rockstar. And you know what else seemed to drop quite quickly after the trailer? Well, all the Rockstar controversies seemed to completely drop off and people seem to forget about it. Now, in my opinion, when GTA 6 drops, it will be fantastic. But I'm more thinking that it's going to be delayed until 2026, not next year. But if it does come out next year, I'm sure it will be great, and it will definitely be Game of the Year for me. Now, one other game I think will be massive, and it looks like the hype is not going to fade.
You know what's crazy is that low taper fade, like, meme is, dude, it is still massive.
Yeah.
It will be Dying Light 3, or rather Dying Light Beast. The game looks beautiful and the art looks great, and the story has the potential, in my opinion, to be the best out of the 3 games. Now, though I think it's a bit of a shame that they're ditching Dying Light 2's quite realistic concept of there being no more guns left in the world, I can understand why they've made this decision. As I think from a gameplay point of view, it makes a lot of sense to have guns in your zombie game, because let's face it, guns are just as fun as knives. I think out of all the games releasing next year, this one really does have one of the best chances to get Game of the Year if GTA 6 doesn't come out. I can't wait to see more trailers for this game and see what the developers developers are really going for this next Dying Light. The game looks great and I can't wait to see how they finish this awesome saga. Whoever greenlit and or came up for the next Doom game is a fucking legend. I can imagine all the CEOs at a conference at Bethesda just sitting there thinking like, what should the next Doom game be about? Then some badass guy walks through the door and he's like, yo, I have an idea for the next Doom game. Let's make Doom guy dress like a medieval badass and set the game in the Middle Ages. And let's just throw in a fucking dragon. Let's also give him a shield and give him a fucking gun that shoots skulls.
Shut up and take my money.
So if I was to try and translate all that into English, it would sound like this. Doom is going to be fucking awesome. I honestly have little to no doubts about the next Doom game, and I really do think, once again, it's a strong competitor for Game of the Year as long as GTA 6 does not come out. Bethesda, like I said, have been on their top game, and I can't wait to see them deliver, hopefully, with the next Doom game. Now, I want to talk about a big game that's coming out that I'm far more skeptical about. The game in question that I'm talking about, of course, is Mafia 4. In my eyes, with each release of a new Mafia game, they slowly became worse and worse in quality. By the time you got to the final game in the saga, Mafia 3, the game stopped being good at all and they just started sucking complete donkey dick.
Alright. Wait, what? Is this a cheat? This is a pretty sick hack. Is there supposed to be... Oh, okay. I guess the game thought a road was there? Yeah, look, it's dry.
But the one thing I will give Mafia 3 praise for and credit for is the fact that it did finish the series, even though it sucked huge ass. So when I saw the announcement that they were reviving the Mafia series, it gave me some very mixed feelings. Now, does the game need to exist? But does the game look good? Well, yeah, it actually looks really interesting as a concept, and the gameplay looks really solid and kind of fun, to be honest. But hey, we will have to see. I think the game has every chance to be great, not Game of the Year, but still a great game. But please, Take-Two, just don't make another one after this. We don't need any more, okay?
Ooh, a fresh pie? Save me a slice. That's good. Okay, that's good. Yeah, that's... Alright, that's good. Okay. Alright, okay, alright. Okay, that's good. That's good. It's enough slices!
The last game that I really want to talk about that isn't specifically exclusive is Outer Worlds 2, made by Obsidian. And I think that Obsidian in general will have a really great year next year with all of their releases that are coming out, to be honest. But overall, I think Outer Worlds 2 looks to be really fun. And you know what I'm a massive fan of? Fallout. In fact, I'm a Fallout nerd and or a fan. So when you give me wacky Fallout in space, I'm gonna say, hell yeah, I'm in.
Woo! Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for. That's what it's all about.
Outer Worlds 2 is definitely a game I'm going to be buying and playing, and I cannot wait for it to release. It looks really good, in my opinion. It could even be a surprise Game of the Year winner, however, that is a long shot to say the least. As I'm sure you're all aware, Outer Worlds 2 has a lot of competition to compete with next year, and a lot of high-level competition, that is, of course. Now it's time to talk about everyone's favorite thing, Consale Wars. It's time to see what everyone's favorite company is, Mr. We Don't Support Our Own Games is up to.
How about? No jump, my nigga. What do you talk for, bro? God damn, dog. Fuck.
What the company that lays off most of their studios is actually up to.
It's so garbage, man.
Bro, why you got your audio coming out your TV, bro? You on console?
Yeah, I'm on Xbox, bro.
Wait, for real? Hey, yo, Xbox, turn off.
Bro, don't say that, you dumb.
And of course, who could forget the most outdated company's console yet?
Here we have two completely drained Nintendo Switches. One shows signs of life and starts charging.
Okay, so let's start by talking about exclusives on Xbox's side, because this time around they actually seem to have quite a few.
You know how long I've been waiting for this? Woo, I'm about to make a name for myself here.
I don't think you guys walk away from this.
You just make sure people know what happened here today.
Their flagship exclusive title for next year is going to, of course, be Fable. Fable is a very interesting situation because, in my opinion, it's clear that Xbox saw what PlayStation were able to do by reviving the God of War franchise in 2018. So they probably thought to themselves, yeah, we can do that with Fable and get a huge resurgence in old fans and have a great turnout for the new Fable game. The original Fable games were absolutely iconic, and they were some of the most free free games in terms of choice any games could offer. Really just allowing the player to do whatever they want and be whoever they want. I mean, you could be one seriously evil asshole if you wanted to be in the original Fable games.
When Maze betrayed me, I knew he was a coward. But you are the biggest disappointment of all. You have been given too much power, and it has corrupted you. But it isn't too late to turn back. Stop this now, and there is still hope for you, for all of us. Please, let me teleport you to the graveyard. Take Nostro's soul instead. Very well, hero. Do your worst. I am no defenseless old man. I have powers that you can't begin to...
Now, the core Fable fanbase is very skeptical about this reboot, as the trailers do seem to be quite a mixed bag, with the graphics and the open world looking absolutely great. However, the character and quote-unquote choices leave a lot to be desired. Now, the reason for this optimism is because in the original Fable games, you really could make your character whoever you wanted them to be, whereas in this Fable game, it appears you're just going to be playing as some warrior woman. Now, personally, I don't have a problem with this at all. If you can make this woman a complete bitch, an asshole, an evil person, then that's absolutely fine with me. I don't think it matters that you're playing as a woman. Sure, it would be cool to have some character customization where you can pick your gender and really create the character you want, but overall I think she looks fine and she'd make a fine protagonist. Like I say, as long as the player can make this woman evil or an angel, I don't think it matters whatsoever. What makes me more worried is that all the trailers depict this woman as a generic leader good guy and a hero, which does have me a bit worried for that choice of being evil. And this of course has a lot of fans very skeptical whether you'll actually be able to make meaningful choices in the game, but only time will tell, I suppose, whether that will be the case or not. I think this Fable has all the potential to be a great game and an amazing reboot for the series, but we will just have to wait and see if it will deliver or if it will fail. Avowed is a game that's been in development by Obsidian for quite some time now. Avowed is basically just Obsidian's response to Bethesda not making Elder Scrolls 6 yet.
Fine. I'll do it myself.
So for Skyrim fans, this should be a godsend. Now, I think that the trailers for Avowed look really cool, and the gameplay also is a mixed match of wizardry, spells, gunplay, and of course just normal sword-based combat with shields, parrying, and bows and arrows. The game looks really big, and in my opinion, the art looks unique and really cool. Now, here's the thing though, I think the art looks really cool, but a lot of people have been saying that the art looks terrible, it's trash, and the game's gonna suck. But I don't really follow why people have been saying this. From the information I was able to gather, people have been saying the art looks really childish and silly, but what did you expect? Did you guys just want another copy of Skyrim? If I'm wrong about this, could someone please tell me why everyone seems to be just dogpiling on this game? I'd really appreciate that, because I genuinely think the game looks good, and I think it will be good. I don't think that should be a controversial statement that Obsidian, a company that has had famously good track record with open world games, in my opinion is going to release a good open world game. I'm not saying it's going to be amazing, nothing I've seen looks absolutely groundbreaking and incredible, but the game looks good in my opinion, and I don't understand why so many people are hating on it. Now, the last game I want to talk about on Xbox's side is Gears of War E-Day, because while we know little to no actual information on this game could be extremely big for 2025. The original Gears of Wars were some of the most popular cover shooters ever made back in the day of the Xbox 360, so it's extremely exciting for me to see Xbox rebooting the franchise and series for 2025. Now, I think this game has a good chance of being delayed because I feel like it will be quite a big game for next year, but if it comes out, I feel it will be a great game for next year. As of now though, we're very unaware of a lot of the details of development of this game. I don't even know if it's personally going to be an Xbox exclusive. They say it will be, but I have some doubts. From the trailer, this game looks great and it will be very popular if it's good when it comes out next year. The next year looks to be really big for Xbox, and the games that I've talked about are only some of the confirmed Xbox exclusives coming out for next year. There are many other studios producing games under Microsoft that could fully be Xbox exclusive. Some of these games include Ark Survival Evolved 2, Subnautica 2,
Is it safe?
and Perfect Dark, among others. This is a very exciting year coming for Xbox, and I hope that they can land on their feet for once this year. All Xbox has to do now is please give us more Halo. Please. It's been too long. Please.
It's been 84 years.
For 2025, it looks like PS are going to be dropping some really big bombs. Now, PS's strategy going into the next year seems like they're going to be focused on more big blockbuster games, unlike Xbox, who seem to be focused on anything and everything that they can release. PS have some really huge games coming out next year, and I would say their main one would be Death Stranding, made of course by Hideo Kojima. The original Death Stranding was, well, I would say kind of long in my opinion.
Hey, you! What you looking for, dumbass? Hey, come and get me. What you looking for, dumbass? Hey, come and get me. No!
I'm currently playing through the first Death Stranding, and yeah, I'm getting through it, but it's kind of taking me a while because, to be completely honest, it's basically an overglorified walking sim. Now listen, to be honest, I don't have anything against people who love Death Stranding, like Death Stranding, or think it's the best game ever, but I just don't seem to buy into that sort of gameplay loop of walking for hundreds of miles to get little to no reward. That being said, I'm only about halfway through the game, or about halfway, so I assume that there's much more to come, and maybe the game will blow me away in its second half. Now, the trailers for Death Stranding 2 look interesting to say the least. I have no doubts that the game won't come out and won't make a shitload of money for PS and Sony. But there is the big question of whether Death Stranding 2 will actually be fully exclusive for PS, because as we can see recently, PS have been coming a lot more lenient with what games they actually own as exclusive title. Death Stranding was one of the games that was given to Xbox by Sony and PS. It appears that Sony and PS seem to be quite intimidated by the amount of IPs that Xbox are just nabbing from them and just creating exclusives, so maybe they're doing this to sort of even out the water and kind of lead Xbox to believe that they're sharing games. Hey, I know one thing, no matter how good or bad this game is, it will not stop the Hideo Kojima meat riders from calling it the best game they've ever played and without a doubt Game of the Year. The second main game that PS are releasing next year, of course, is Ghost of Tsushima 2, the follow-up to the highly successful Ghost of Tsushima 1, which came out in 2020. Now, I think from the trailers, the game looks pretty good, to be honest. Now, there has been some concern amongst fans as to why they've chosen to not continue the main protagonist's story from the first game. Now, I don't really see this as an issue, because as long as the protagonist is good and the main story is good, then this isn't a problem in my eyes anyway. I think it would have been nice to see a continuation of the first story or something aligned with the first story. However, I feel like they could really go places with the story they're trying to set up. Now, there is one other major issue that a lot of people seem to have an issue with, and that is that in this game, ladies and gentlemen, you'll be playing as a woman. Now, this situation is a bit of a catch-22, much like the Assassin's Creed situation with, of course, the Black Samurai. Now, were there women samurai? No, there was not. In Japan, women couldn't be samurai. The reason why was because feudalism in Japan meant that political stances were held at a chauvinistic regard, which in English basically means man fight, woman cook. So I can understand why people argue that taking historical elements out of Japan is really a wrong thing to do. I get that, especially considering Ghost of Tsushima 1 does such a good job at making Japan seem really realistic and portraying samurai really well. But at the same time, in my eyes, I feel that as long as she is a good protagonist who has a good story, good character elements and also is a well-written character in the context of the game, then I feel like people will stop complaining very quick. The game of course is not out yet, so I can't say much on it because there's not many trailers either. However, from the trailer that is out, I think the game looks very good, and I have little to no doubts that the game won't be great when it comes out. It looks like PS has quite a positive year ahead of them, with some big games coming out that are sure to do well and impress many people. It'll be an interesting year to see both Xbox and PS compete, trying to outcompete each other at their best game. It really does look like next year can be quite a competitive year for games consoles, with both PS and Xbox looking to make some great games to compete with each other next year. Nintendo really don't seem to have much planned for next year. It would appear to be that Nintendo are releasing the Nintendo Switch 2 next year, which is quite exciting and many Nintendo fans will look forward to, considering the console they've had to deal with for the past few years is really running into the ground now. Don't get me wrong, Nintendo are putting out a few new games such as Donkey Kong, Sid Meier's Civilization 7 and Metro Prime 4, but other than that there's nothing really major and hardly any exclusives for Nintendo. Let's just hope that the Nintendo Switch 2 is great and that Mario Kart, the game they're releasing as their flagship, goes well with it. In conclusion, it looks like we have a very positive year for gaming ahead of us, with some absolutely great games look to be releasing and some fantastic run-ups for Game of the Year look to be upon us. Only time will tell if Ubisoft will fall in this year. Only time will tell if GTA 6 will actually be released. And of course, only time will tell if PS, Xbox and Nintendo will make the best games of 2025. Like I've been saying throughout the whole of this video, only time will tell. Thank you guys ever so much for watching this video. Just to let you guys know, the next video won't be until the 7th of January. That's not to say I'm not working on videos, because I am absolutely going to be working on lots of videos in that time, but you guys will be very excited, I feel, for 2025. I'll be uploading weekly and I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Massive shout out to RPG7 who inspired me to create my Fallout series. I couldn't have done it without him, so go check out his channel, he does great stuff. Thank you guys ever so much for watching this video. Stay safe guys, and I will see you all in the next video. Stay safe guys, and peace.